Hello, thank you for joining us today on the Double J Double Jones Show. Tonight is featuring my co-anchor, Weston Jones, Jordinia Finia, and Jackson, plus myself and a surprise mystery guest later.
Tonight's special is on a very interesting topic. It is on Greek history. Now, Miles, what do you know about Greek history?
I don't know much, but what I do know is in the Hellenistic period and Greek history is full of fun facts. I would love to learn more.
Yes, I would very much agree. We'll start off our show by talking about the incredible Alexander the Great.
Did you know he nearly conquered all the world before age 32?
That seems impossible that one man could do that much damage and to be able to control that much land on his own.
Yes, it's fascinating.
He sure followed his father's footsteps, right?
Who was his father?
His father was Philip II of Macedonia. After the Peloponnesian War, Macedonia was much more united as one than the Greeks were. King Philip II had very strong plans to take over the world, but stopped short when he was assassinated at the age of 20.
Wow. If he stayed alive any longer, he probably would have discovered even more land.
Yeah, but he is only a piece of the Hellenistic period in ancient Greece.
What do you mean by that?
Have you ever heard of Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates?
No. Tell me more about them.
Well, they are famous philosophers. Socrates was very wise and believed that knowledge is the most powerful tool to accumulate.
Interesting.
Who
was Aristotle?
Aristotle was a famous student of Plato who wrote a book on politics.
Then who was Plato?
Plato was an admiring disciple of Socrates.
There's so many cool stuff about the Hellenistic period that I didn't know before.
I agree. Isn't it quite fascinating?
Yes.
Well, I bet that Jackson, Jordan, and Jordinia have lots more to say.
Great, I am so excited to learn more about this topic.
I don't know anything about Greek history right now. I can't wait to learn all about it though from Jordan in modern-day Greece. I hear that they are experts on Greek history. Yes, well, why don't we connect to them now?
Yes, indeed.
Hello, Miles and Weston. Today I'm going to be interviewing a fellow who goes by the name of Jackson. I'm going to see what he knows about Greek history. Hello, Jackson. I'm glad to see you tonight.
To you as well, Jordan.
So, Jackson, tell me, what do you know about Greek history?
I know a lot actually about Greek history, but I am very curious in two famous people that I do not know a lot about. Those two people go by the name of Plato and Socrates. Do you know anything about Socrates, Jordan?
Why, yes, I do. Socrates lived from 469 to 399 BC. Socrates was a very interesting guy. He was a thinker kind of person. He cared more about the truth than almost anything else. Socrates lived from 469 to 399 BC. Socrates was a very interesting guy. He was a thinker kind of person. He cared more about the truth than almost anything else. Socrates, if you can believe it, went around asking difficult and embarrassing questions to almost anyone. He would stop people in the streets and ask them the questions. Through people's answers and through his logic, Socrates showcased the evils and faults in a society. By answering his questions, people also learned to think more logically and clearly. That was Socrates' method of informing and teaching people about a society.
Quite fascinating, really. I had no idea. I'm a little surprised that that was Socrates' personality and attitude.
Tell us what else you know about Socrates.
Okay, Socrates was also a very firm believer. If Socrates believed in something, he used the power of science and philosophy to back up what he believes in, using facts and knowledge. Speaking of knowledge, that was one thing that Socrates believed in very deeply. Socrates believed that there was nothing more powerful and useful than knowledge. He believed that the more knowledge someone knew, the better off in life they would end up being. He also thought that any problem or challenge that anyone faced could be solved with the power of knowledge.
Interesting. I never knew that Socrates was so into learning more about knowledge in the world.
Agreed.
Is that all you know about Socrates?
Nope. I also know that for several years before he became a philosopher, Socrates was a sculptor as his profession. After he became a philosopher, he stuck with that career for the rest of his life. But surprisingly, he never wrote anything down. He never recorded anything. He didn't leave any writings of his own.
Fascinating.
Whoa, look at the time. As we move on to our next segment in Greek history, we'll swing it over to Weston.
Thanks, Miles. Jordan, I had no idea you knew so much about Socrates. Now here's Jackson with some information on another topic of Greek history.
Let's jumpstart over to Seamus McNulty, who has a super smart guest with him.
Hello, everyone. I'm here in Macedonia with 76-year-old historian, the legendary Jordinia Phinia. Hi, Jordinia.
Hi, Seamus. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for asking. Do you mind if I ask you some questions, Jordinia?
Fire away. It's not a problem.
Great. Do you know who Philip II's child was?
Yes, it was Alexander the Great.
Correct. Next question. Do you know what years Philip of Macedonia was a hostage at Thebes?
He was held there between 368 and 365 BC.
That is correct. Wow, you really do know your stuff. Do you mind that I ask you some questions about the history of Macedonia?
Okay, ask away.
How did Philip II get other kingdoms not to attack their kingdom?
He paid them not to attack.
That is true. Do you know when he was assassinated?
He was assassinated in 336 BC.
Wow, nicely answered. Did you know that Philip of Macedonia had many marriages and that he attempted to free Western Macedonia?
No, I did not. Quite interesting.
But sadly, they suffered a great defeat.
Oh my goodness, that sounds horrible. Do you know how many soldiers they lost in battle?
I think it was approximately 4,000.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I have a few true or false questions for you now.
All right, ask away.
True or false, Philip of Macedonia is also called Philip II.
True.
Correct. True or false, Philip II also tried and succeeded on rebuilding his city after it was attacked by other kingdoms.
True. My map. Pause.
Look at the time.
Okay, well that's it from Jordinia today. I would like to thank Jordinia Phinia for guest starring on our show this evening and teaching us all about Philip of Macedonia.
My pleasure.
Now let's kick it back to Weston.
So,
Now let's head over to Miles, who's going to be teaching us about another stupendous topic in ancient Greek history.
thanks, Weston. Today we'll be telling facts about a brave young man of the name Alexander the Great.
After Alexander's father was murdered, Alexander began rule.
Yes, at 20 years old, Alexander began to rule. Weston, do you think he would be able to rule at that age?
I don't think so. That would be a lot of pressure. He also must have been really smart because when he was younger, he was tutored by the philosopher Aristotle until he was 16.
Let's swing it down to Jordan, who's on the street of Macedonia now.
No,
Stop.
Yes, guys, I'm down here with a citizen named Weston. Weston, when was Alexander the Great born?
I think around 363 BC.
So close, Weston. Alexander was born 356 BC. Okay, Weston, I have one more question for you to answer. Who did Alexander the Great defeat in battle?
He defeated Persia and Darius I.
Yes, indeed. He also defeated Asia Minor, Egypt, and Syria as well. Thanks, Weston. Now back to Miles in the
Thanks,
studio.
Jordan. Those were some very factual, deep information.
Yes, those facts were very helpful to everyone watching.
Alexander was a very brave and smart man most of the time. His army was outnumbered by every one of his enemies.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Even some of his fellow people disliked the way he ruled.
Now let's kick it to Jordan with some great information on Aristotle.
Miles? Yes, I do have some fabulous information on another famous philosopher, Aristotle. I have two fellows with me here, and they go by the name of Miles and Jackson. Hello, guys.
Hello.
Do you guys know anything about Aristotle?
No, I do not.
I don't know either. Who is Aristotle, Jordan?
Aristotle was a famous pupil of Plato. He was born in a Greek colony. Aristotle was one of three kids. He had a brother and a sister. Aristotle went to an academy, and that's where he met Plato. After, he left and became a marine biologist. That was for the early years of his career. Later in life, he became a Greek philosopher.
Wow, that's interesting.
Agreed. Do you know anything else about him?
Yes, I do. Aristotle created a system of logic that ended up surviving modern times. In all, Aristotle was a very curious person who liked to study nature and animals.
cool.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, I agree. That was very interesting to learn all about ours.
Now let's take it back to Jordan again, who has some exciting information on another famous descendant.
I don't want to give anything away, but Jordan also does have a very special guest with her.
Yes, let's head there now.
Hello. Thanks, Miles and Weston, for that intro.
No problem.
Yes, I do have a very special guest with me right now. He goes by the name of Plato.
Woo!
Hello, Plato. How are you doing today?
Very well, thank you.
Great. Do you mind if I ask you some questions?
Go right ahead.
So, Plato, I hear you wrote a famous book. What is it about?
The book is called The Republic. It is about Socrates, a person who I admired growing up. Since Socrates was such a unique person with an interesting personality, my book consists of many conversations that he had with random people.
Wow, that's very cool. So, I hear that you do not like the democracy type of government. Why?
I do not like democracy for a government because I feel like that too many times there were unqualified people who are allowed to make the decisions there. Also, I do not like the idea of unqualified people making important decisions. In a democracy, I additionally didn't like masses of people making rash decisions together because he feared that he would make the wrong choice with a wise leader to guide him.
Interesting. So, Plato, what is your ideal society?
In my ideal society, each citizen would do the work that best studied his or her ability. My ideal 3 classes of society would be workers, soldiers, and ruling philosophy.
I like that idea. That seems pretty fair.
Speaking of things being fair, I firmly believe that men and women are equal. I believe that they should be both treated equally.
I agree. What else do you believe in?
I also believe in that there should be no individual wealth or privately owned property.
Do you have any other interesting facts about yourself?
Yes, indeed. One interesting fact is that my name isn't actually Plato. My real name is Aristokolos. Plato is just a nickname that I had since birth.
Cool. Anything else?
Yes, I was a wrestler growing up too, and I was very good at it.
Fantastic. Well, that wraps up this segment of Greek history.
Yes, thank you for having me on the show tonight.
Now let's hit it back to the studio with Weston and
Well,
Miles.
this wraps up the fantastic evening show of ancient Greek history.
I would like to give a shout out to our interviewers, Jordan and Jackson, tonight for doing a spectacular job.
Thanks, Miles and Weston.
Well, this show had to come to an end.
Bye, guys.
Good night, everyone.
See you next time on the Double J, Double Jones channel.